Well, you know what, guys? If your coffee isn't doing the trick this morning, perhaps the sound of stimulus will. We have your attention at home, especially if you live in Maryland, where a recent article on a well known finance site claims you can expect a fourth stimulus check soon. Well, we'll tell you right away, that's probably not the case. We talked to the Maryland Comptroller's Office and looked into the Maryland Relief Act of 2021, which the article itself cites.
Folks, if you receive monthly benefits, then there are some very important news you have to know. Monthly benefit checks may be announced, dramatically decreasing your monthly stimulus. So as the economy has suffered from the crisis, supply chain problems, and skyrocketing inflation, while the federal government has stepped in multiple times to help Americans through a variety of relief initiatives, including stimulus checks, tax rebates, debt relief, and other programs. According to a recent Go Banking Rates survey, 60% of Americans would still like to see more stimulus money in 2023, and so would so many other people across the nation. Because when the crisis that led to this hardship may be over, financial woes for the people that suffered this will definitely not be over. Because the good news is that there are some programs that provide approved payments of 2022 that will continue to roll into this year. It's also possible that the American economy is going to go into recession. Not really possible, but it definitely will head into recession, and we're already in one. Because on the East Coast, several states have some kind of stimulus that will extend this year. Now, not all of the stimulus comes from bills passed by the Fed. Some are rebates or surplus tax refunds that states are passing along to residents. Because in the state of Delaware, for instance, resident adults 18 and older who filed their income taxes may have been eligible for a Delaware one-time tax rebate. A one-time tax rebate, folks. And what I mean by this is that in the state of Massachusetts, $3 billion surplus was sent out. It decided to divide that money to its residents in the form of tax rebate and refund. Anybody who filed in 2022 should have received their refund already, but residents who filed their taxes on or before September 15th will begin that money too. And now, no later than September of this year, New Jersey residents can still take advantage of property tax refunds through the Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowner and Resistance Program. Pennsylvania has also given $1,500 while renters can receive $450 if you're a homeowner, and the deadline for 2023 filing is January 31st. Applications for this anchor program need to be filed with the state's Division of Taxation. Pennsylvania has an ongoing program since 1971 that benefits seniors, which is still in effect. They send out a refund of property taxes or paid rent monthly for seniors. The maximum standard rebate is $650, but those eligible for supplemental rebates can receive up to $975. That income limit is $35,000 a year for homeowners and $15,000 a year for renters, though half of Social Security income is excluded. To get the funds, an application is required. It must be filed with the state's Department of Revenue by December 31st, and the state of Virginia already sent eligible taxpayers checks worth up to $500 in the form of one-time bonus tax refunds. But while most checks were mailed out in September, for those who filed at the later end of the application window, it's possible that some checks may still be on the way to check out their monthly benefit checks in some way or form. It has already been almost 3 years since the crisis began. It was a long time ago, but many states have already been making adjustments to the monthly benefits. It has been announced that extra crisis SNAP benefits are coming to an end in 2 months for residents who use the program in Massachusetts. About 630,000 homes in the state have been relying on SNAP since March, and has allowed them to receive the maximum benefits, and that means good stimulus money.
I was able to get not all I needed, but $369 billion put in that bill. And we had, I think the guys were with me, the Congress were with me when I invited the CEOs of the auto companies to the White House lawn in the back, behind the White House. And I talked about automobiles, and I talked about electric vehicles. At the time, Amy Barr Chairman Barr of General Motors, was suing the state of California because you had a higher standard for emissions than the rest of the country, and they said they couldn't do that. Well, she left that meeting and she dropped the suit. Called me up and said they're going to go all electric by 2035. Every other company has signed up to do the same thing. So we're working with the auto industry to transition to electric vehicle future, providing tax credits to buy electric vehicles, as well as, any IBW guys here? Well, guess what? You guys are going to install 500,000 charging stations around the country. So it's going to be, that's like 500,000 gas stations. Not a joke. 500,000, because people are going to say, I'm not buying a vehicle because it can only take me X number of miles. And by the way, we're investing billions of dollars in many.
The generosity comes at a time when many states are reveling in a rush of tax revenue collected during the previous fiscal year and a cushion of federal crisis aid funds. The Hartford Courant claims that the tax credit program was made possible due to the Connecticut's large budget surplus and over $2 billion in federal stimulus funding. What do you think about this? Tell me in the comments down below. President Biden and his administration is pushing to advance a new bill. This new plan would help avoid a recession this year. Economists say this bill should be signed into law immediately. Senior Biden administration officials pushed back on some economists' projections of an impending recession, arguing that it is possible to curb inflation without causing a major economic slowdown. Janet Yellen said today it's President Biden's top priority to bring it down, and Jerome Powell has said that his goal is to bring inflation down while maintaining a strong labor market. That's going to take skill and luck, but I believe it's possible, and I don't think a recession is inevitable. Yellen also said she expected the economy to slow because of the Federal Reserve's interest rate hikes, but stressed that consumer spending remains strong among many other things, even as people shift their spending patterns to accommodate higher food prices and energy prices. Yellen told CBS News that it's clear that most consumers, even lower income households, continue to have buffer stocks of savings that will enable them to maintain spending. The sentiment was shared by the National Economic Council Director, Brian Dess, who also pointed to low proportions of people missing payments on mortgages and credit cards. During an interview, he said that not only is a recession not inevitable, but I think a lot of people are underestimating the strengths and the resilience of the American economy. President Biden said just one day after the Federal Reserve hiked interest rates by the largest amount in nearly 30 years that a recession is not inevitable. The rate hikes, which make more borrowing more expensive, aim to contain price growth by reducing demand to better match supply, but as a business curbs spending in response to the hikes. Employment growth is already beginning to slow from the torrid gains seen earlier this year. Jerome Powell has indicated that the central bank will continue raising interest rates to restrain the economy. Raise interest rates. But some leading economists have disagreed with the administration's optimism. Larry Summers said Sunday on NBC that he predicts a recession by the end of the next year based on historical trends. Chuck Schumer and Manchin have also been privately meeting to negotiate a bill to reduce prescription costs, a piece proposed by Biden's Build Back Better. Brian Deese has stated Schumer is working with his caucus to try to get the final package in place, and we're hopeful we'll see progress on that in the coming weeks. Deese also added that the Biden administration is working to pass legislation to accelerate domestic production of semiconductor chips to boost supply